Dan, what you've been able to do with Lincoln Design is so important that you guys have found a way to create your own brand, get you hired over and over again, but hired with confidence to do the type of work you want to do for the type of clients you always dreamed of. When you come out here this weekend and you give so many different customers a chance or other designers a chance to see what you're doing, how does that make you feel knowing that you're sending somebody else on this path that took you years to discover?
Oh man, that's tough. I mean, it's cool to see that people kind of look to us, and for whether it's their design career or or they're in a job and they're like, oh, I'd just love to do this or go in that direction. So it always kind of takes me back. I'm like, shit, I'm just kind of trying to create stuff that I like, personally with the Lincoln brand, and then do the client work as well, and everyone seems to kind of gravitate towards it, and it always kind of surprises me like how stoked they are, and especially to come by the booth and buy product, and yeah, it's rad.
It's just interesting, though, that by accident, our generation has found this way of how you work for yourself and eventually get to work for others.
Right. Yeah, for sure. It's definitely, it's one of those things, if you have a passion for something, I feel like, and you can turn that into a job, that's the best thing, ever. But, and then if that works, I mean, you're just basically rich with, doing what you want to do, so.
So a long time ago when you were working in-house in action sports, could you ever imagine that something like DesignerCon were to exist where two big convention centers full of fans, full of artists of all kinds of different disciplines coming together to celebrate really good design?
Yeah, no, not at all. I mean, when I was at DC Shoes and stuff like that, there was nothing like this. I mean, even Comic-Con in San Diego was smaller, but as far as like, something like this where it is definitely based on design and everyone appreciates, what we do or what any of these artists do. Like it's rad.
It's a whole different time because designers used to be anonymous in the project. And it used to be you were not supposed to be noticed. But now you hop on a plane 6 times a year, go speak at conferences all across America. Like being a face of your studio has become a big part of your brand.
Yeah, it totally has. I mean, I feel like you got to get out from behind the computer, and the more you can do that and push yourself or your brand or your agency, kind of the better, So yeah, it's rad.
So you did the smart thing, got an RV for the family, and then you realized if I paint it matte black and covered in my covered in my brand's logos, it's also a tax write-off. Tell me about driving your whole big rig down from Portland.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was definitely, I've owned trailers with the families and camped my whole life, so it definitely made sense for the family aspect. And then we'll take this thing, do some like little retreats with the whole crew. But yeah, we took off on Monday, drove all the way down here, stopped at Santa Cruz Skateboards, hit up some clients to make sure it was a good business trip, and rolled into the convention center. It was great.
Well, it's funny that I said band because your career is a lot like being in a band. You go on tour, you have appearances, you have people that buy your merchandise. Like, Design Famous has become a real thing.
Yeah, it kind of has. Like, I don't feel like I am or the studio is, but people, kind of flock to it like it is, and it's rad, And I kind of fan out on some dudes and, definitely watch a lot of people and stuff, so it's definitely gone in that direction.
So when you guys are as busy as you are, working with clients, and then on top of that, somehow finding time to make all of your own products, what makes you pull the trigger on committing to coming down to something like DesignerCon?
I've been watching this thing for years and years, and it kept getting bigger and bigger. And then Brandon, one of our illustrators, is here every year with his posters and stuff, So I kind of talked to him like, hey, you think it's worth it? So definitely this year, I kind of reached out to DesignerCon to see how much a booth was. We worked together. They saw who our clients were, and we kind of partnered up and got some of our clients to come in and get booths here and have a portion of our booth. So it was something that I've been watching, and the thing just is growing and it looks amazing, and the talent that's here. I'm like, dude, we need to be sitting in there with all that talent,
It's an interesting room because not only are you sitting next to all your peers, so it gives you the ability to become friends with people and collab and work together, but being in Southern California, 5th biggest economy in planet Earth, it also gives you the ability to kind of, on the backside, auditioning for jobs and emails that you don't even know that are going to come in the next couple of months.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, a lot of times when we do things like this, like we end up getting a new client or meeting a new face that comes by the booth, and like, oh shit, you guys are here? Like, I'm from here and here, So it's definitely worth the trip and the effort.
I always say, as an artist, you have this unique ability to go out and do a trade show, but actually go home with money, where, a lot of companies would just spend thousands of dollars and try to get email addresses, but you can come home with a profit, and then you never know what the next win's going to be from those emails and phone calls that you get next Tuesday or next year.
Exactly. Yeah, just the exposure in itself is well worth it, I feel like. But in the end, we do sell product and we do come home with, like,
It's the ultimate win-win.
yeah, it is. Yeah, it's cool.
Well, Dan, thank you so much for letting me be a part of your booth, and thanks for letting me use the inside of your RV to record podcast all weekend.
For sure. We got the podcast studio in here. It's rad. Yeah, and I think it worked out great.
Yeah, I got to talk the wife into maybe getting one of these things. Like, but baby, it's
mobile studio.
so good for the podcast.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
And you could do cooking demos on the world's smallest oven.
Exactly.
Thanks,
Yeah,
bud.
right on, Mark.